Welcome to Module 5, Section 3 of your California Contractor License Exam Prep course. In this lesson, we'll cover small-scale concrete work within the scope of a B2 residential remodeling contractor license. While you won't be pouring foundations or structural slabs as a B2 license holder, there are still many tasks involving concrete that you're allowed to perform legally and profitably. These include small pads, walkways, patios, steps, and minor flat work, elements that don't impact the structural integrity of the home, but are still important for function, appearance, and safety. Understanding the correct methods, materials, and limitations of small-scale concrete work is essential for staying compliant, avoiding costly errors, and delivering high-quality results to your clients. Let's begin with the scope. As a B2 contractor, you're permitted to perform concrete work that does not support a structure or form part of a load-bearing system. This includes concrete driveways, porch landings, pathways, non-structural steps, and small slabs that serve as bases for sheds, HVAC units, or freestanding walls that are not structural. These types of projects are considered safe and routine in the remodeling space, as long as you follow local codes and don't exceed your license limitations. One of the most common concrete jobs for remodelers is replacing or adding a small patio or sidewalk. This might be needed for curb appeal upgrades, accessibility improvements, or outdoor living enhancements. While it may seem simple, good concrete work requires careful planning. You'll need to ensure proper grading and slope for water runoff, typically a minimum of 2% slope away from the home, and provide for control joints to prevent random cracking. Control joints are shallow cuts in the surface that allow the concrete to crack in a controlled way as it cures and shrinks. Without them, slabs may crack unpredictably, which can ruin the appearance or even cause trip hazards. Before you pour, site prep is key. You'll begin by marking out the area and excavating to the appropriate depth. For most flat work, you'll need to dig down 4 to 6 inches below the finished grade. You'll then add a compacted gravel or crushed stone base, usually 2 to 4 inches thick. This base improves drainage and prevents the concrete from shifting or cracking over time. Skipping this step is one of the most common causes of slab failure. After the base is compacted, you'll set up forms using wood or plastic form boards, ensuring they're level, properly supported, and staked securely. Use a string line or laser level to check your slope. Next, you may add rebar or welded wire mesh to reinforce the slab. While reinforcement isn't always required for non-structural work, it's often a good idea, especially for larger or heavily used surfaces. Reinforcement should be supported on chairs or adobes so it sits in the middle of the slab, not at the bottom. Once your reinforcement and forms are in place, you're ready to pour. Timing is critical here. Concrete must be placed quickly and evenly to prevent cold joints or uneven curing. Most small jobs use ready-mix concrete delivered by truck, but for very small pours, you might mix bags on-site using a mixer or wheelbarrow. Once poured, concrete must be spread and leveled using screeds, floats, and trowels. Your goal is to create a flat, uniform surface with the right finish. For exterior flat work, a broom finish is common. It provides traction and resists slipping. For decorative patios or walkways, you might apply a stamped texture or exposed aggregate finish. Just remember that decorative finishes require experience and confidence, so don't promise something you haven't done before. It's better to subcontract decorative work if you're unsure, rather than risk a poor result that leads to callbacks or unhappy clients. Curing is just as important as pouring. Concrete gains strength through hydration, a chemical process that must be protected from evaporation. If the surface dries out too quickly, the concrete may crack or weaken. To prevent this, you'll need to keep the surface damp for at least 24 to 48 hours using curing blankets, plastic sheeting, or light misting. In hot or windy weather, this becomes even more critical. Once cured, the forms can be removed, and any sharp edges or rough spots can be smoothed out. Now, let's talk about compliance. While small-scale concrete work is generally considered low risk, it still must follow local building codes, and in some cases, a permit may be required. This depends on your jurisdiction and the size or purpose of the slab. For example, replacing a section of sidewalk may require a permit from the city's Public Works Department. Pouring a pad for an outdoor AC unit might require coordination with mechanical permits. Always check with your local building department before starting a concrete project to avoid fines or red tags. And never attempt structural concrete work unless it's done by a properly licensed C8 concrete contractor or coordinated under AB general contractor. Safety is also an essential part of any concrete job. Wet concrete is caustic and can cause serious skin burns with prolonged exposure. Always wear gloves, safety glasses, and long sleeves when handling fresh concrete. Use respiratory protection if you're dry cutting concrete or mixing powder materials, as the dust contains silica that can damage your lungs. Be cautious when operating mixers or handling heavy wheelbarrows. Concrete is extremely heavy, and strain injuries are common. Make sure your work area is clear of obstructions and that your crew is trained in basic safety protocols. In some remodeling jobs, you may need to remove and replace existing concrete. This involves breaking up old slabs with a jackhammer or breaker tool, hauling the debris, and preparing the site for a new pour. Be careful not to damage adjacent structures or utilities. Before beginning demolition, call 811 to check for underground lines, especially if you'll be digging deeper than a few inches. When removing old concrete, plan for debris disposal. Concrete is heavy and bulky, so you may need a specific dumpster or recycling service that accepts inert materials. Clients often underestimate the cost and labor involved in small-scale concrete work, so be prepared to educate them. Explain the process, timeline, and potential weather delays. Set clear expectations about curing time, finish options, and maintenance. Properly poured and cured concrete can last for decades, but only if it's done right. If your clients want color additives, sealants, or specialty finishes, explain the added cost and timeline. Providing professional guidance during the planning stage builds trust and helps avoid misunderstandings later. To recap, small-scale concrete work is well within your rights as AB2 remodeling contractor as long as it doesn't support structural loads. You can legally pour sidewalks, patios, non-structural slabs, and pads for freestanding structures. Follow proper prep steps: grading, base compaction, formwork, reinforcement, and finishing, and always check local permit requirements. Wear PPE, protect against silica dust and caustic burns, and educate your clients about the process and expectations. By doing concrete work the right way, you'll expand your service offerings and increase your value on a wide range of remodeling projects.